Hello, I have an art tool video to share with you today, including this very large Jackson's box. I'm partly blaming this on my lovely viewers who have recommended such nice products to try out, and also I'm going to be away for a couple of months and wanted to buy a few things before I go away. So the reason for the large Jackson's art box was because I needed some more craft plastic, and I buy it in these big 12 by 24-inch sheets. I use this as the surface for my alcohol ink paintings, which I use mainly for abstract seascapes, which I sell at a monthly craft market that I do. I sold out of them completely at my last market, so I need to get on with making a load more. I prefer craft plastic for my alcohol inks over Yupo paper because it doesn't stain at all, and it's quite thick and just lovely to use with the alcohol inks. Not long ago, I did a video on my favourite natural greens for landscapes, and a few viewers recommended paints which they thought I might like, including some supergranulating watercolours from Schmincke. I have got quite a few supergranulating paints already, but I got them before I got into practicing landscapes. So I've got forest grey, forest olive and forest brown. I'll open everything first and then I'll swatch everything out. I also picked up Perylene Green Deep from Szmal. I've really been enjoying the Perylene Green from Szmal and thought this would be nice to have too. And then finally from Jackson's, I've got this coloured pencil touch-up texture. I want to use it as a base for mixing with titanium white pigment to make an opaque white paint with. I want to make an archival kind of white rather than relying on Posca pens for highlights over watercolours. So I'll experiment with that in a bit too. Also, if you've seen any of my previous videos, I've been going through a bit of an oil pastels phase, and one viewer recommended these Mungyo Gallery Artist Soft Oil Pastels and said that they've got a really good range of greens in them. So I picked up the 48 set really reasonably on Amazon. I was sad not to get a colour chart in my recent Sennelier oil pastel sets that I bought. So I'm glad to see that this Mungyo set has got one in. And it says there are 120 colours altogether. But when I had a look at this set, I really liked the fact it had got these olive greens and quite a lot of nice natural colours. So I'll have a play with those a bit later in this video as well. And then I've got a couple of random things from Amazon. This is the Faber-Castell Perfection, and it's an eraser. I'd seen this being used somewhere on YouTube and just thought I'd like to try it out. I also needed to get a pencil extender. I've got a couple in the narrower size, but this Derwent set has a narrow and a broader one which is suitable for the luminance pencils, and I'm hoping Derwent drawing pencils. Because I've got my old baby Derwent drawing white that I want to carry on using. Oh yeah, that's great. That holds it nice and securely. That's quite lightweight actually. That seems like it's going to be quite nice to use. Because I've been doing more with oil pastels lately, during one picture I'd used what I call a pokey tool, just like a blunt metal needle really, for scratching some detail into the oil pastel. But I'd also heard of these slice scalpels, and I really wanted to try one out, just as another method of scraping into the oil pastels. Last week I swatched out some Sennelier oil pastels and I was a bit disappointed in the green selection that I'd got. So I've ordered some more, mainly greens, but also some brighter colours so that I've kind of got one of each colour should the need arise. Didn't want just all natural muted colours. Okay, well, I'll swatch these out in a minute and compare them to the Sennelier oil pastels that I've already got. And then, because I've got no willpower whatsoever, I've got these. So in a recent video, I bought a single Derwent Inktense block and tried it out, and I'd been pleasantly surprised by how much I liked it, but said that I wouldn't be looking to get any more. And a couple of people kind of laughed at me and said, no, they're great, you can't stop at one. And out of curiosity, I looked on eBay and I found this set. It's a little bit scratched up and a little bit dented, but it was at a really good price for the 36 set. So it is unused. I won't swatch them all out in this video, but I will have a little play with them in a minute. And then finally, oh dear me, following on from my natural landscape greens video, a few people recommended different Derwent Lightfast pencils. And I have bought a few open stock Derwent Lightfast pencils in the past. But again, that was before I really wanted to progress with my art experiment this year. So I was looking at the range and I hadn't realised just how muted and gorgeous they were. And I ended up picking out so many open stock ones that in the end it seemed more sensible to get the whole lot. So that's what I did. I'm so excited about these. I already opened them just so I could have a look at the greens. I already knew from my individual pencils that I really liked them. As I'm selling more pieces at my craft market too, I do want to use Lightfast pencils for those so that I can ensure the quality for the people buying them. So I'm going to get on now and try swatching some of these things out. First of all then, I'm going to try out the Schmincke Supergranulating colours that I've got. And this is Forest Grey. I'll give it plenty of water because I like to let the supergranulating colours have a good play. Then we've got Forest Brown. And then Forest Olive. I'm swatching on Canson XL Watercolour Paper. I find that lets the granulating colours do their thing the best. So take a look at what pigments are in them. Here we go. Gosh, there's tiny writing. We've got, so for the Forest Grey, we've got PBR7, PG50 and PBK11. Then the Forest Brown, it's just two pigments, PG26 and PY43. And the Forest Olive is PG18 and PY43. And they are all 5-star Lightfast ratings. So I'll just show you them alongside my other granulating green paints. And there aren't really any similar at all. Yeah, I'm really happy with these new colours. I think they're going to be super useful. The other watercolour paint from the forest sets that I've got is the forest blue. And then just to show you how they compare with the browns as well. Probably Schmincke's Desert Grey is the closest, but the yellow is just yellow and grey really. It hasn't got the green in it. Okay, I'll try out this Roman Szmal. Oh, that's lovely. I'll just show it you compared to the Perylene Green from Roman Szmal. That's really funny. I've been thinking that the Perylene Green was gorgeous and dark, but seeing it compared to the Perylene Deep Green, it seems much more muted. The Schmincke greens have mainly dried now, so I'll show you those up close. They've got a more subtle granulation than some of the supergranulating colours, with the olive, the forest olive, having the least amount of granulation. But I think they're lovely, especially this forest grey, it's beautiful. And I like this extra warmth that's in the Perylene Green Deep as well. Really nice. So while I've got paintbrush and water out, I'll just have a go at swatching some of these Derwent Inktense blocks. While I'm on a theme of greens, I might as well swatch out some of those. I know you can get different sized packs of the Derwent Inktense blocks, ranging from 12, but I don't know if 100 set are available yet. I know there are 100 pencils available. I'm just curious to see if the numbers match up between the pencils and the blocks. So the only identifying feature on the block is the number there, 1700. And here's the corresponding 1700 in pencils, which is mustard. Let's see what... So they don't match up perfectly, but I'm assuming that the numbers are referring to the same name. Okay, what's this? 1510. I'll give that one a go. And here's the 1510 pencil, the beach green. Yeah, so the numbers do match up, but it just looks like the pencils are more vibrant versions of the blocks. I'll swatch out the blocks and look at them in greater detail in a separate video. The next thing I'm looking at is mixing some of this brush and pencil, coloured pencil touch-up texture with titanium white pigment. And I'm using Cornelissen Pigments Titanium White. So I've just put a few drops into this palette and I've scooped in some of the pigment. I don't know what quantities I'm supposed to be using here. I tried out a first mixture and it was nice and smooth, but it was a little bit transparent. So I've just added some more titanium white. We'll see if that makes a difference. Okay, that's a little bit more opaque and it's still kept its nice smoothness. Let's see if I can get away with a little bit more. I'm just using an Escoda Perla synthetic brush for this. Okay, so that's starting to lose a little bit of its runniness for being able to do detail. You can see it's kind of drying out a little bit on the brush strokes. So it looks like this might be the happy medium between the most opaque we can get with the most fluidity. So I'm just playing here. But yeah, I think that will work well. I wanted to do this because it makes an archival white rather than just using Posca pens for my white details over the top of watercolours. I do love my white Posca pen, just so easy and enjoyable to use. But if I'm selling things, I want to think about the archivalness. And actually I think this titanium white pigment mix is probably more opaque than the Posca pen as well. So yeah, I'm happy with that experiment. Next I'll take a look at my new Sennelier oil pastel colours. I'm going to be really cheesy and swatch them out in roughly rainbow colour, I think. That's deep red. Vermilion? Yeah, vermilion. Yellow deep. Oh, that's a very sticky kind of one, a nice soft one. That's green yellow light. Cinnabar green yellow. And this is my least favourite shade of green, but it does occasionally come in useful. See, in my video the other day reviewing the Sennelier oil pastels, I was saying that I didn't particularly like the wrapping system, and here I can't read the name. Let's see. Okay, just green medium. And again, this is another of my kind of gripes is that the printing's not great, so I can't actually read the name. I think that might be pine green. Here, everywhere. I'll check on the invoice in a minute which one's actually got. Chrome green medium. This looks like one of the transparent ones. And this is a very transparent, sticky, gloopy one. But I just wanted it for the colour really. Cinnabar yellow, brown. Whoops. Oh, that's lighter than I thought it was going to be. This is for Iridian green. Good thing about these is that they do have pigment information on. So I was just thinking that looks like a good PG7, and yeah, it is. Chromium green deep. Pale blue. I think this is ultramarine. Yeah, French ultramarine. Cobalt violet light. I'm not a massive purple fan, but I was really wanting a purple like this the other day when I was trying to put some shade into a tree that I was doing. Violet blue. Red violet. Quite a nice bright one. That's just purple. And then we've got this nice pale pink Madder Lake. Like a nice kind of Barbie pink. Oh, that's quite a gloopy one. That's charcoal. A lovely deep grey. Here they are with their names. I think for me, when I'm drawing or painting, I always have a colour swatch chart at the side so that I can easily grow to the colour that I want. But I think the problem I'm going to have with the Sennelier oil pastels, and I don't want it to take away from the enjoyment I have in using them, is that it's not easy to read the names on the labels, and you can't identify a lot of the colours from the actual colour of the crayon. So I'm curious if anyone has a good system for how they easily identify which Sennelier oil pastel is which, especially as I don't have a container where each pastel can sit in its place. So this is my current set of Sennelier colours. And it's a lovely muted palette. I really do like these colours. So that's why I've added in some brighter colours to flesh them out a little bit. Those are the greens now. And I didn't have any deep red or an orange or a yellow. And those were the closest purples and pinks. So I'll just have a play with this slice tool now. I'll try layering some colours up and then experimenting with them. Okay. So that's not super sharp to the touch, which is nice. I think I quite like the shape of this blade. I don't know if you can see it. There is kind of a point, although it's rounded, there is kind of a pointed tip just here, so you can get super, super fine lines if you want them. So I've probably not picked out the best colours for that. But then if you tilt it down more, you can use more of the blade to take away bigger areas. I don't know if you can see that at all. I'll try it with a single colour, see if I can show you. So that's using the little tip here. And that's angling it down, the knife down more. It feels a little bit wobbly actually. Oh, that's better. And then that's laying the blade flat on the surface. Interesting. The next thing I'll do is take a look at these Mungyo Gallery oil pastels. I think that the Mungyo have a couple of different oil pastel ranges, and this is classed as the Artist's Soft Oil Pastel range. So I might as well stick with the green theme. Oh, that's very nice. They're not quite as soft as the Sennelier, well, as most of the Sennelier pastels. But someone was saying that the Mungyo ones are quite consistent across all of the colours. These are nice. I'm really impressed with these. I'll do a separate video swatching out all of them. And obviously 4 is not a very representative trial, but they do seem consistent though. I'm not getting much gloop or transparency so far. So that's the Mungyo Artists. I'm just going to show you a comparison with the Paul Rubens that I've got, which I do really like, but they're a different texture. The Paul Rubens are stickier, and I think there's probably more variation across them. And the Paul Rubens that I've got, I haven't got very good greens either. Yeah, see this one is much thicker. So yeah, Paul Rubens stickier and less consistent in their texture across the range. Then I have got the Pentel Oil Pastels as well. And these are much drier and harder. These are more like wax crayons really. And they're even harder to blend out. Though these are consistent in their texture across the range. And then the softest of the lot are the Sennelier. So yeah, that's quite interesting. So we've got the Sennelier, which are super soft and creamy, but inconsistent texture across the range. Some are transparent and some are quite gloopy. Then the Mungyo Artists, which from my very small sample are quite creamy but harder than the Senneliers, but seem quite consistent and opaque. Then the Paul Rubens, which are quite soft and enjoyable, they're more sticky. I think the Paul Rubens are going to be best when it comes to really textured work and leaving really thick oil pastel layers. And I swatched these out in full, well, the full range that I've got. And on the whole, they've got really nice textures, but there are one or two that are a bit gloopy or quite hard to use. And then the hardest texture are the Pentel, though they are consistent across the range. But yeah, I really like where these Mungyos fall in that spectrum actually. I'm excited to play with them more. And then finally for this video, we have these beautiful things, the Derwent Lightfast. I'll do a full video just concentrating on these, and a project that I want to work on is to swatch out the whole 100 Lightfast pencils and compare them with the most similar colours from other ranges like the Luminance pencils, Polychromos, Prismacolors and a couple of others. So the booklet goes through each colour and tells you the Lightfast ratings, the pigment colours and what sets they come in. So that's a great booklet to hang on to. I just really love the muted palette that they come in. Oops. The squeaky plastic trays. And then there's a Lightfast paper pad to try out. I think this is, yeah, it's like hot press, 100% cotton paper. So I'll probably try these with watercolour paper, the 100% cotton hot press that I've got. This is going to sound really silly, but what excited me a lot about this set is that there weren't loads of different oranges and reds, because I always seem to end up with thousands of colours that I don't really use. And this 100 set just seemed to have all my favourite colours, or all my favourite kind of variations of each colour. So there aren't many mid-greens, but there's loads of olivey greens and lots of lovely dark blues. And yeah, a good couple of turquoises there. And I'm not a huge purple fan. And there's only one what I would call kind of true purple. But there's lots of like kind of more muted, different variations on purples. So this is just plain copy of paper, and then this is the Lightfast paper. Yeah, it's very, very smooth lay down. So I'm not overly keen about the off-white. So these are luminance, I'm just curious to compare them. I think the Lightfast seems to have an even smoother lay down than the luminance. And the Lightfast feel more creamy, whereas the luminance, I've kind of got like a drier, although the colour lays down wonderfully from the luminance, they've kind of got a drier feel to them, like a slightly more powdery feel. I haven't got the exact colour match, that's not very good really. So on the hot press cotton, see the Lightfast has kind of a smoother coverage and the luminance leaves a bit more white on the paper. Well, this is only an initial scribble anyway. I'll do a video just on these, like I said. But I think I'm going to love all of these greens. So anyway, I'll leave it there. I hope you've enjoyed looking at some of these products, and I'll be looking at all of them in more detail in the future. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.